So the athletes are gathering to the line. Nervous moments for them. 35k. It's the thick end of the marathon distance, I suppose you could say. Mara, before you were going to your big marathons in Olympics and World Championships, what was in your mind in the last few minutes? What would you be thinking to yourself?
You're just trying to relax, to be honest. All the hard work is done, really, and the race is your opportunity to, make the best of all your hard work. And really excellent conditions today. It'll be really interesting to see how those who've doubled up and those who are fresh fare today.
It will indeed. Yes, we've had surprises throughout these last 7 days. Today is day 8 of 10 at these World Athletics Championships, and we want surprises. We don't want predictability. Well, we should be able to look at one or two of the main protagonists here. And the athletes invited forwards to be introduced to the crowd, just some of them. The field is 41 strong, remember. There's Miranda Melville of the USA, 35th in the 20K last Friday, but 14 times US champion at various distances, the 33-year-old. There's Katarzyna Jebło of Poland, the silver medalist in the 20K here last Friday after 10th in Sapporo at the Olympics last year. She's improving all the time, is the Pole. Kimberly Garcia Leon of Peru, the winner of the 20K last Friday. The Lima-born athlete is the second fastest here at 35K and could garner a second medal this morning. Shiji Qiyang of China, fastest in the field today, the bronze medalist over 20K, but she was disappointed with that bronze. She's a serial medalist at major championships, so watch her. And Li Maoshuo of China, second in the 50K at the World Championships in Doha 3 years ago, and second in Muscat at the World Race Walking Team Championships in March, over 35 kilometers. So she might have had her fill of second places. I wonder if she can go one better. Here we go then. Start time at 6:15 a.m. Off they go. 35 laps then to be negotiated. And race walking, it's a bit like 400-meter hurdles. 400-meter hurdlers are locked into a stride pattern. That means they have to run pretty hard. They can't run easy, 400-meter hurdlers. And race walkers, although it's more of a psychological compulsion, tend to walk very fast and aggressively from the get-go. And I like that. I like the honesty of race walking. Many, many race walks I've commentated on over the years that lead changes hands again and again as athletes have good and bad patches and decide to try and attack the field. There's always somebody, it seems, in race walking, for my money, Mara, who wants to get to the front and just keep it really honest, the pace.
Yes, absolutely. Of course, this is a new event in race walking, new as a championship event. So the athletes, in a way, are still learning how to race it. But earlier in the year in Muscat, the World Race Walking Team Championships, saw some great performances from the athletes there, including Jebło, the Polish athlete, won silver a week ago. She won a fabulous bronze in the 35K in Muscat back in March. And as we were saying earlier, this is the first time that the women have been able to double up in race walking. So history will be made. And this 35K distance being contested for the very first time at this Global World Athletics Championship. So the Polish athlete, Jebło, looking very confident so far, being coached recently by Robert Korzeniowski. Perhaps we can call him the king of doubling up in race walking. He won double Olympic gold in 2000, several other Olympic and world titles, held the world record and the Olympic record since overtaken, and he's been advising Jebło, so I wonder if she can get onto the medal podium again. And of course, Garcia Leon made history for Peru a week ago, the first Peruvian athlete to win a medal of any color at these World Championships. Yeah. So she also will be keen to get back on that podium. Chinese, of course, very strong.
Yes, there is a water station on the circuit that these athletes will be making full use of, but they won't be sweating up as much as we might have expected. The 20Ks last week started in the lunchtime period. It was pretty warm, and it got warmer through the afternoon as they continued to walk on. Although, actually, bizarrely, it's hottest period at these, the climate here in the Pacific Northwest is about 4 p.m. onwards. It seems to get really hot and sticky at from about 4 till 7, and then it cools down a little bit in the evening. Generally, the weather's been very warm throughout the last 10 days, and today this is a God-sent cool cloud above these athletes, as we see Jebois taking out the pace early on, and they make this turn and head down about 300 meters towards the finish line, the start-finish line that they will pass through for the first time very shortly. But already big gaps appearing. There's the American trio going through very close together in those blue shorts and red tops, and this is a clear indication for my money, Mara, that the pace up in front is aggressive. Jebois here, full of confidence, has that silver medal already in her bag to take back home to Poland. And she's enjoying herself, isn't she? You know, she's an improving force. She was 10th at the Olympic Games last year over 20K, second this year in the 20K. She is clearly inspired here, and you don't seem to find the same reluctance in race walking to hold back and keep your powder dry. They just go for it. I love it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, being out on your own, you don't have to worry about other athletes clipping your heels and so on. If it's a windy day, you can get a bit of cover from the wind. But conversely, if you're out on your own, you're a bit exposed to the attention and scrutiny of the judges, more so than if you're in a big group. Tim, you were talking about hamstring injuries. Interesting to see Garcia Leon's got her hamstrings taped there. She didn't appear to be bothered by any niggles or injuries a week ago, and so far going very well.
But this is a great shot, isn't it? You really get to see the speed they are moving at, these women. They are flying along, and Jebois and Garcia Leon are moving away, and these are gaps as they come through in front of us. 3K and around 14:12, something like that. The gaps have opened up incredibly early. 35K the full distance. They've got 32 kilometers to go. 14:12 at 3 kilometers. They are flying, and they have thrown down the gauntlet. Jebois has, in particular, in spectacular style here. This is quick.
Yeah, I made that 4:36 for that third split. The top female 35K walkers go at around 4:30 per kilometre. For those of you who are keen runners, you'll realise the incredible speeds that these athletes go at. So they started off at 4:57, second K 4:39, and third 4:36. So picking it up all the time.
Yep. Well, it's what we were led to believe would happen, although I didn't think it would be quite such a meteoric rise up to a quick tempo. But 4:36, well, that's around 23-minute pace for 5K. And if you're a park runner, or you've ever run a 5K, just over 3 miles, 23 minutes, there you go. It's about 7.5 minutes per mile. I mean, not much slower than that. It's remarkable how fast they go. And I'll tell you what, I go out for a jog most days here in Eugene, Oregon, and I certainly don't go anywhere near the speed they are shifting at the moment. There we go, Jebois. Her personal best pace is 4:50 per kilometre, and she's on schedule to break that by, well, some 4 minutes or so at the moment for the full distance. The predicted time on the current pace, 2:45.40, and that would have her well embedded in the world top 10 for this year.
Meanwhile, further back in the field, the Finnish athlete Kuikka is now on 2 red cards for bent knee.
Well, there's 10 in this chasing group, and they are able to work together. That will help them. They will, in the same way that the leading pair are silently and perhaps without any agreement having been formally made, helping each other here, working together side by side, pulling themselves further and further clear from China's Xiang Shiji, so that chasing group will maybe start closing down on the Chinese, although she does have a big gap on them. it will enable them to maintain a solid tempo and then maybe take advantage of anything that goes on up the road ahead of them with the trio that are a long way ahead. Red cards is perhaps the best they can hope for, Mara, because the caliber of the three out in front is undisputed.
Yes, of course, it can all change right up until the last moment in race walking with those disqualifications and time in the penalty zone. But currently up at the front, Garcia Leon on a clean slate. And there we have, so there are the leaders, Garcia Leon of Peru and Trebor of Poland. I just wonder if Trebor is suffering a little. We saw them both take gels at the drink stations. Of course, they're out here for 2 hours and 2 3/4 hours or so. It's an awfully long time, and they need to take on fuel and water. Trebor was putting a lot of water on her head, so I think she's feeling the warmth of, even though it's only around 15, 16 degrees at the moment, and still very overcast. No wind really, just a very, very slight breeze, so excellent conditions for race walking.
1 hour 21 on the clock, and the pole to the left of picture is grimacing, there's no doubt about it. The silver medalist from the 20k a week back is under pressure here, trying desperately to match that really quick cadence. I think the turnover for the legs of the Peruvian Garcia Leon has increased. There's surely an acceleration here. Rubbing salt into the wound. She knows that Zebwo is in pain, that she's suffering, and she's trying here to break the pole. Little psychological battle going on here as much as physical. That is the biggest gap there's been between these two for nearly an hour and a half now, an hour and 22 minutes. And Garcia Leon, I think, has just got a sniff of a second gold here. Still a long, long way to go. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. They're approaching 18k, isn't it, Mara?
Yeah, they've gone through halfway, and they just go through 18k, so into the second half. And as they pass our little commentary booth, Garcia Leon definitely has a little bit of a gap. And I can tell you one person who'll be watching closely is Andres Chocho, who's been helping Garcia Leon. He will go in the 35k on Sunday in the men's race. 7 times he's appeared at these World Championships. He'll be his 8th on Sunday from Ecuador. And obviously his advice really paying off for the Peruvian athlete as she streaks away now.
Garcia Leon rocketing past Casey of the USA there, and that gap has grown yet further, and that gap is growing with every stride now. It does seem as though the little psychological link between these two has snapped. Zebwo of Poland in second place. She finished in second in the 20k a week ago, but look at the gap. That's a gulf now compared with what we had a lap ago. And Garcia Leon powering along. It's funny, isn't it? The dark glasses hide the eyes. It's so hard to detect. No other sign of emotion on the face of the Peruvian. They say that the dark glasses, they say that the eyes are the window to the soul of a person, and it's so hard to detect anything on the features of the Peruvian with those shades on. But what you can detect with every other indicator is that she's walking really well. The work rate is astonishing. That gap now is probably 25 meters. And Garcia Leon will get a little squirt of adrenaline. It'll be easing into her system here now as she knows that she's got the bit between her teeth, and that someone who was perhaps almost a colleague helping her open up a gap in the opposition for the last hour and more has become a rival, and a rival who looks to be beaten at the moment. There's the leader though from above, Garcia Leon, and top left of picture in the white vest and red shorts, you could see the figure of Zebwo. It's not over, is it? Far from over. I think I said a couple of minutes ago, can't see her being caught. I probably spoke a little early, because who knows what can happen over the next hour.
Yeah, Zebwo keeping that gap down to just 12 seconds and not letting Garcia Leon get too far ahead.
For some reason, Zebor at the last drink station didn't take a drink. She just powered on. Maybe she felt it was too much hassle, but that could become a factor. You've got to keep taking those drinks in. You know, Mara, full well that in marathons, you've got to keep drinking. Now, she comes through the line now, and they've gone through 24K, and I think maybe that gap is reducing. Perhaps Zebor thought, well, for the sake of missing one drink, when I've got the bit between my teeth, and I'm closing down on the 20K champion, the leader who's pulled away from me, I'm just going to keep working. She is very, very powerful with her stride, isn't she, Zebor? She's good technician, has been improving all the time in recent years, and at the 35K walk, 35K distance, Zebor is closing the gap down to 9 seconds at 24K. She's getting a little bit of return.
And Garcia Leon, a 4:36 for that last. Okay, so the pole must have been something like 4:33.
4:34 for Garcia Leon is the last split, in fact. That is Zebor closing or not that gap. You can almost count it yourself. She was actually a second slower, Zebor, that lap, so maybe Garcia Leon is getting the information she needs to start digging deep and holding the pole at the moment. It's very finely balanced. 9 seconds, down to 7 seconds, now back up to 8 seconds. And Zebor has got to keep at it, both of them under extreme pressure here. They've got to be hurting. 2 hours on the clock. Here is second place. 1, 2, 3, by the way, in their order, racing order at the moment is the 1, 2, 3 from the 20K a week ago. That would be an unusual doubling of the same rostrum, wouldn't it? Here is Shi Yang of China. Now she's motoring along, but a long way back, well over a minute behind the Pole Zebor, who's in second. All she can do is try and secure third place and ensure she gets another bronze, or that one of the two up in front of her will falter, but she can't do that. She's just got to hope for it. She's inactive in that respect. She was disappointed with her bronze in the 20K. I wonder if she'll be disappointed with another bronze, Mara. I mean, you can't complain when you come away with a brace of medals.
Yeah, I mean, by her high standards, bronze perhaps is disappointing, but you know, she's been at the top of her game for over a decade. Very consistent, very technically good. So just needs to hang on for that bronze.
The leader, Garcia Leon, just easing up onto the shoulder of Li of China. And that is the other big Chinese name, Li Marsuo. World number 8 this year, silver medalist in the 50K back in 2019 in the sweltering heat of Oman. She hasn't enjoyed today quite so much. She took a silver medal, did Li, in Muscat in Oman back in March. But today, Li is down in 8th place, Mara. 4.5 minutes, nearly 4.5 minutes down on Garcia Leon, and that is why the Peruvian has just lapped up.
Yep. So Garcia Leon just dropping her arms for a moment there, but still looking very smooth and no red cards. And she will come through 33K the next time, and there she goes through 33K for Garcia Leon.
Well, 33K. She had 32K. She had a lead of 33 seconds on Zebor of Poland. How will that gap have been affected after yet another lap? They go through these kilometers so quickly. We're continually scribbling down the splits here to try and keep track of the pace they're moving. And Zebor there goes through now. Just wondering if that gap might have closed a little bit. It was 33 seconds.
I made it around 36 seconds. We'll bring you the official split any minute.
33K, 2:30.31 the time for Garcia Leon.
And the next time the leaders come through the finish, they will hear the bell for the final lap.
Shi Yang then of China working hard. The gap 32 seconds. It had closed by 1 second. So Zebo trying desperately to hold her form. She is well clear of Shi Yang. I think she's assured the silver barring disaster. Here is Garcia Leon with a lap and a half to go. That's all, 1,500 meters or so. A metric mile between the Peruvian and a glorious second gold. But Zalova, she's just passing there. And moving at a different rate altogether. She has been, frankly, a class apart today. The Slovakian, 21-year-old, learning her trade with the white headband, can only watch and admire and learn from the form of Garcia Leon, who is storming away with this title. Over 30 seconds the gap now for the last couple of kilometers. The Shi Yang, who's been called a group. She's on her own. She has been for most of the race. It's been a very tough walk for the Chinese. Mara, I mean, you know, you must have experienced both racing a marathon on your own, especially through the second half and the latter stages, or being in a group, and it must be so much easier. I say easy, it's a relative term, but easier to be working with someone else.
Yeah, really tough on your own. I mean, you can do your own race, if you like, on your own. You don't run the risk of being pulled along to a pace that you can't sustain. But equally, it's just so much easier if others are around you. Let them do the heavy lifting with making the pace and hiding you from any wind. There's hardly any wind today, though. So Shi Yang looking very good, very smooth technique. Some 1 minute 25 behind the leader. So on course to repeat her bronze medal from the 20K just a week ago.
Well, she's due to be crowned the Olympic champion from London 2012 over 20K. There is nothing greater than an Olympic title. The next best thing is a world title in the World Athletics Championships. She might have come here with ambitions of a gold over the 20K distance. We understand she was disappointed with her bronze from last Friday, and she might have wanted a gold today, but she'll have to settle for another bronze. But it has been brilliant from Shi Yang Shiji of China, as we see the leader now pouring it on. Current pace at 4:33 per kilometre will take her to a time of 2:39.38. Her personal best pace, 4:39. So she's going 6 seconds quicker today, on average, than her personal best. This is the walk of her life. She produced her best ever 20K last Friday when she took a gold in that one. And here she is, having set a national record at 20K. Going through the line, 1 lap to go then for Kimberly Garcia Leon of Peru. Glory awaits her. 2:34.58 at 34K. Her previous kilometre was a 4:27. And that one, gosh, is that another 4:27, I think? Zebo of Poland. Looking a little bit stiffer now. Must be hurting. Katarzyna Zebo, 25 years old. The Tokyo 10th placer at 20K, improved to a silver here over 20K. She's had the best possible advice from the great Robert Korzeniowski, 4 times an Olympic gold medalist, her advisor, 3 times world champion at 50K, Robert Korzeniowski in 96, 2000 and 2004. 3 times Olympic champion at 50K, I should say. But Garcia Leon has about half a lap to go, and Mara, this has been a truly dominant performance. Worked through the first half with the pole Zebo, to get the gap on the rest, and then just eased away, showed her class with a big acceleration around 18, 19, 20 kilometers, and hasn't let go.
Yeah, and keep a close eye on the clock, because Garcia Leon is on course to absolutely obliterate her personal best, which is also the Peruvian record, currently stands at 2:43.19. And I think she's going to come very close to the world lead. Maria Perez of Spain, 2:39.16, the fastest in the world this year. Zrebla, also the Polish athlete, 2:49.37 her PB, so she's going to absolutely smash her PB and national record.
It's been a masterclass by Kimberly Garcia Leon, nothing less. Worked hard through the first 17 or 18 kilometers with the assistance of Katarzyna Zebor of Poland to break the field, get the gap, get a big gap. And then decisive move from her at around halfway, just slightly past halfway, eased away to get a gap on the pole, who has worked so doggedly to hold on to second place, even threatened 5 or 6 kilometers back to close the gap. But I think Garcia Leon got wind of that, put in a little bit of extra effort and eased away yet further, and now has a gap of over half a minute. At 34 kilometers rather, the gap 33 seconds. And there would be no denying a second gold here for Kimberly Garcia Leon. Leaning into this now, maybe just showing a little bit more strain in the shoulders, but still that wonderful cadence, the turnover. Fluid movement from the Peruvian. Came into this with a confidence sky high, clearly had recovered just about perfectly. Grabs the Peruvian flag there. We're going to see that unfolded very shortly, I'm sure, because she is heading for gold now, is Kimberly Garcia Leon. She has had the most astonishing championships here. Garcia Leon, the 20K champion at the age of 28. Her personal best 2:43.19 for the 35K. Well, she's going to smash that by something like 4 minutes. The world best 2:38.49. She's just outside that, but it is nonetheless going to be a national record for the Peruvian as she comes towards the line for her second gold. She will be champion once again, Kimberly Garcia Leon, over 35K. Unbeatable, as she was a week back. Over 20K today, over the new race distance for the world's best female walkers. 35 kilometers behind her. Victory for her yet again. Second place coming through. It's been a fabulous effort from Katarzyna Zebor of Poland. She took silver a week back. She takes silver again today. She has looked tired for these last few kilometers. She knew the gold was gone. She knew the silver was relatively safe. The gap behind her over a minute to the Chinese Shi Yang. But she takes silver, almost staggering across the line. Desperately keen just to take the pressure off those legs. But she does have a second silver for Poland. What a walk from her. And what a lonely, long journey it's been for China's Xiang Shijie. The 31-year-old came into the race as the fastest of the starters. World number 3, the 2 faster than her weren't in the race. She was, but 2 others were faster than her on this occasion. She takes a brilliant second bronze for China. Salutes the course, salutes the spectators who have supported these athletes for 2 3/4 hours nearly. But we have a complete replication of the rostrum positions from the 20K a week ago in today's 35K. There is the champion, Kimberly Garcia Leon. Looked almost immortal through the race. So few signs of pressure. got to be hurting, hasn't she? There is the 1, 2, 3. 2 golds for Peru, 2 silvers for Poland, 2 bronzes for China.